I had something written down that I wanted to talk to Sam about, or it's more of a Kyle Sam thing, really. So Kyle used to be a used car salesman back in the day.
Oh, cool.
And Janet Reno here, you were also a used car salesman for a bit. Like it's
Yes,
usually
sir.
Nick Rockefort, however you say it. He's the one who is like the big car sales guy. But you did it as well, right? How long did you sell cars?
I did it under Nick Rochefort's wing. He was my mentor in the car sales biz, and I think I did it for like 8 months. But it was so painful and torturous that I really couldn't have done it any longer than that. It was one of the worst. I mean, it's the worst job that I've had.
What did you hate so much about it?
Yeah,
just that the people come in and they think they have license to do battle with you because they've watched the stereotypical car salesman thing, and they know you're out to screw them over. So they come in armored up for a confrontation without any other sort of preface.
And so they're just combative, and that was not something you wanted to deal with.
Yeah. Some like bull dyke lesbian with a binder this thick full of information that she printed out from Edmunds.com, telling me she knows my tricks.
I know your tricks.
That's
what a condescending beginning to a conversation.
Yeah, I never liked trying to sell a car to a white woman. Like that was literally like the bottom tier customer was a white woman.
Woman in particular. Why not man?
Well, I mean, the man can be more often than not. The man is is more likely to be able to like whether you like it or not, like pull the trigger today.
I thought you'd say that.
And it might not even be like the right thing for him to do. Like he may get cussed out tonight at home. I've seen guys come in and be like the macho man and fucking pull that trigger, and then like the next day be trying to return the fucking car. Like they got home and someone put the fucking foot down. But and I've seen women come in and pull the trigger too. But more often than not, I would much rather sell to like black people or brown people because they've usually got their shit together and they're
white women were annoying.
They're there to do business, and they're not going to like some rich white woman will haggle over $15, and like some Mexican guy will be like, "I want to get on the road, yo! Like let's do this thing." You know, like we're not talking about $150,000 car here anyway, right? Not all the time.
Yeah, I can't imagine liking selling cars.
It
seems like it would be very stressful. Because you're right, like the combativeness of everyone walking in. Because like when I bought my car a few years ago, like I went in with the thought of like these guys are going to try and take you for a ride, like be defensive, like don't agree, like
when
be willing to argue.
When someone's like that, just immediately disarm and be like, "Look, it sounds like you've done your research, sir. So let's just like you're going to get the best deal available. The way it is we pay a certain price for the car. We try not to lose money when we sell one. We'll show you the invoice." How about on a $50,000 car, we make $1,000? Does that seem fair? That's not a huge markup, and they're usually like cool.
My salesman was a very cool guy. He was super chill. He was similar to that. It was the finance guy who wouldn't let me leave for like 40 minutes, and he kept like giving me shit to sign where he had snuck an additional fucking insurance thing in, and I'd be like, No, I said no to this. Remember that from 40 seconds ago before you printed it? I said no. And then he like did it again. I had to do it like 3 times telling him I don't want any additional shit. And they are skeevy as shit, those finance guys. He literally snuck it onto the contract. If I hadn't read it and like the little line item, I would have signed it and I would have owed an extra $60 a month or whatever the fuck.
Well, that's why he gets paid so much.
Yeah. Probably not $60 a month. That's ridiculous, but more than I want to pay.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't sign something, he's getting like a base pay on that deal, most likely, depending on if he made anything on the rate or not. So yeah, I mean, it's his job to sell it. When I bought that motorcycle last year, I was like, before she got started, I was like, listen, I'm not going to buy anything at all. And when I wreck this bitch, it's wrecked. Like I don't care about wheels and tires and brakes and insurance and rock and damage. I was like, I promise you, I don't want any of it. Just like basic bitch, like let me sign and get out of here.
Well, I hated that guy trying to sneak something onto the contract because for a couple of years out of college, I worked at fucking Enterprise, and so many of my coworkers would just reduce the price, throw on insurance to get their own sales numbers up, and then like if I'm doing fleet management returning it, they're like, I didn't pay this, and then it's like, you're right. I have to return that for you, like refund that for you. So you actually paid $4 a day because that bitch Amy cheated again because she wanted to go home early. I fucking hated that. And so when someone tried to sneak something on my contract, it really pissed me off. Like I would do that too. Like early on, I'd be like, hey, I got to get my numbers up. How about I give you roadside assistance and I lower your price $6 a day? You're actually saving 40 cents. And they're like, yeah, that's great. And I'm like, hell yeah, brother. Roadside assistance package, a little wrap for you. We called that the wrap package, where you just straight up tell someone, I am on the back seat of the struggle bus today. I'm giving you free roadside. When you go out to the lot, please just tell them, yes, I purchased roadside. Like, just say that. And they're like, oh, that's great. Is this like an inside deal? And I'm like, yeah, yes. Like an inside deal insofar as it makes me not get yelled at by my fucking bitch boss.
We had to spoof our customer reviews because it was a corporate store. And reviews were such a big deal. And it like 99% is a fail. 99% is a fail. You got to be 100%. And every time I sold a car from you. Every time I sold a car, I'd be like, listen, they want this 100% so bad that we can get you free oil changes, free car washes, multiples of them. You got a stain. If you just come back and bring this thing to me, they will give you anything you want short of like a new car. Like they would replace floor mats, they'd detail your car, fill it up with gas, oil changes, anything. If you would just please come back and fill that motherfucker out. And I would bribe them every time. I'd be very open about that. I was like, even if the customer's angry, I'd be like, look, I know you didn't enjoy your experience today, but let me tell you how I can bribe you to lie and say you did.
Dude, I had the guy who sold me my car text me half a dozen times over the next 2 weeks after I bought it in like 2018 or whatever, where he's like, I really need that 10 from you, Taylor. Can I get that 10 from you? And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll give you the 10. I go to give him a 10. I have to sign in with Facebook. So I have to make a Facebook account to give him a 10. And I was like, is there a way to do it without making a Facebook account? And he was like, no. And I'm like, damn. Then I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm not making a Facebook to give you a 10. That's not going to happen.
Oh, that's sad, man. He probably lost his job.
Well,
really
they should have had a fucking option to just click 10 stars. I would have given him 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever. But I'm not making a Facebook for it. That's ridiculous.
I don't like it when I don't want to act like I'm a big shot, but like my Facebook has a lot of people looking at it, and when they're like, "Woody, we want you to click our business," it's like for free, well, for kindness. Like people fucking look me up. People like it.
Woody's a big fucking deal, right?
I need a little cashola.
Yeah. I don't know. You're like what? It's almost like, hey, we want you to mention us on your podcast. Well, I mean, you can buy that.
We'll do that for money.
Yeah, if you give us money, we'll do that. But something else I wanted to ask Sam. So you did this car sales thing for 8 months. I think you're like Kyle's age, like 36. So clearly you had other jobs before you got into the entertainment, field. What did you do? Like, what were your first jobs that you hated so much you left and pursued this?
I did sports marketing graphics for stadiums.
What does that mean? Like go
sucked.
Cardinals or something?
Yes, it sucked. I did graphics at a motion graphics place that did stuff for like Discovery Channel and fucking National Geographic, and that sucked. And I briefly worked at an aluminum shaving, it's like a metalworking place. I worked there for 1 day. It was the worst. That was probably the worst job.
How did that go?
So during the years when you're working at the metal shaving place,
no, the day,
okay, and like selling cars and making graphic designs, like what are you wanting to be doing during that time? Like and who like you've got a very unique brand of humor. Who are your influences? Like who is it that you thought was funny growing up that maybe you took a little bit from?
I think I don't think I had any crazy like ambitions to be famous or anything. I think I was so dissatisfied with all the other options, and I've sent my resume. I've sent probably like 1,000 resume emails. That was the most humiliating process ever. Like directly after exiting college and sending my resume out 1,000 times and having like my dad give me pep talks about how this process, like what a great process this is.
Are you shaking their hand?
Yeah, a firm handshake. Look them in the eye.
Oh shit!
That type of thing.
Oh no.
So I just like everything else was bullshit, so I became a YouTuber. That's really all there is. That's all
So
there is
you're
to
like,
it, man.
well, people are making a bunch of retarded nonsense on Kickstarter. I can do
Yeah,
that.
And it wasn't even like I'm gonna be the next guy. It was just like I fucking hate all this other shit. I gotta just make a YouTube video, get famous. And influences, it's hard for me to say not Tim and Eric because I never like binge watched Tim and Eric. Like I was aware of their style and everything, and it probably subconsciously seeped in. But I was never like, oh, this is the most amazing shit I've ever seen. Yeah. I definitely had that feeling for Wonder Chosen though. You ever see Wonder Chosen? That was hilarious. Wonder Chosen really like warped my world and kind of. I think that was pretty big. That's pretty big influence. And then there's this other program called Liquid Television. You remember Liquid Television?
I remember it, but I never watched it.
It wasn't really comedy specifically. It was just the idea of this kind of like the variety of it. It was kind of like neon signs in Tokyo or something. Like that level of variety and intensity. It made me feel like I was watching the movie Hackers or something. So Liquid Television was a big influence also, just aesthetically and like variety wise.
That makes sense. The Wonder Chosen one sticks out to me. That makes sense as an influence. I remember watching that like in high school at like a friend's house, like just sleeping over and like seeing the like little 7-year-old kid like walk up to an investment banker and be like, when we revolt, where will you hide? And then like interviewing him like that. I remember being like losing my shit laughing, I didn't know like that kind of comedy was out there. Yeah, it was so funny.
That was very novel back in the day too. Like there's now there's all the type of like on the street prank stuff on YouTube and all that stuff, whatever. But back then, Wonder Chosen was like the only it was the only thing like it. Like there was nothing else like it. So that's why it was so special, I think, at that moment.
They would like dress little kids up as Nazis and have them interview people on the street just to make people as uncomfortable as possible. Like that's what it was. Make people uncomfortable. The comedy is their like inability to understand what is happening right now. Like why the fuck is this little kid dressed like Hitler asking me offensive questions?
That would make my day.
Happening?
If a little Hitler, if I was just like at the gym and like little Hitler fucking sauntered up to me with like a microphone and like he's got the news channel microphone with the little box below the mic head and it's got a swastika on it. And he's just like shooting the shit, asking me my opinions about like relevant political stuff and like not talking about the fact that he's dressed up like little Hitler. That'd make my fucking day. That'd make my day. I'd love it. I'd give him a little half salute as he left and everything.
That's a damn shame that show went off. Wonder Chosen too early. Yeah, that was like fucking 15 years ago. That was popular now, probably.
Crazy how long as you age, like shit happens. And 15 years ago is a long time. Anyone who remembers stuff from 15 years ago is not that young.